So right everyone, currently on the bike because I've been tipped off it's an abandoned Fiesta XR2 somewhere in the woods. So I'm going to take you up with me to try and find it. Apologies for the wheezing, I mean I'm constantly crying, got hay fever and I forgot to take a bloody tablet, whatever they called. So unfortunately I buggered up a bit and I forgot to film anymore, so you get a bit of pretty scenery while I, talk a bit more, So I basically went up some massive hills and all, pedalled for a while, did about 8-9 miles in total, and yeah, thought I got to the exact location. So then I got up to the section of forestry where the car was supposedly located. So I rode up to it and realised it was completely overgrown and there's no way down. So I carried on doing a loop which would take me home. But so I had to ride down a massive hill. But once I got to the bottom of the hill, I realised, something was telling me I should go back up. So I went up there and went a bit further than where I did the last time. And I found a little path going down the side of a wood by a stream. So I left my bike at the top of the hill and started walking down the little path. After about 2 minutes of walking, I could see a small red piece of metal in the distance, so I carried on walking. To my surprise, the car was. So on initial inspection, I discovered that it was a radiant red Ford Fiesta Mark III XR2i. As you can see from this photo, front arches, rear arch, petrol filler area, door and roof have literally caved in because of 20 years of rust on it. So as you can see from this photo, front bumper's gone, bonnet's been bent right back into where the windscreen would have been, and the engine bay is completely trashed with most of the things like the brake servo being thrown about. As you can see from this photo, the bulkhead is almost completely disintegrated, and the only things that remain in the engine bay are the block and the manifold. I think this car is a later 1.8 16 valve unit, and as you can see on the side of the block it says 16, but I'm not completely sure about this. The rear end of the shell is probably one of the more better areas of the car, as it still has its rear bumper from the XR2i body kit, and still has the boot lid, which even though it was completely rotted off its hinges and you can open it downwards instead of upwards, it was still there. As you can see, both of the rear lights have been smashed as well, and some of the spoiler has been cut off. The rear bench is covered in moss and ripped to shreds, but is still there, unlike the front Recaros, which were taken out but not there. This is the best photo I could get of the front dash, because as you may be able to see in the top right, the roof is completely caved in. But you can see that it's the rear grey dash instead of the black one. It still has some of the heater controls and vents. The front door cards had also been taken, along with the Recaro front seats and steering wheel. The floor looks pretty clean considering there's been no carpet on it for a considerable amount of time. The gear shifter doesn't have a shift knob on it, or any of that leather covering around the base, which would probably would have been taken years ago. Also made me laugh that the handbrake is on, considering the car's probably been rolled down the hill and crashed into a tree, and they still remember to put the handbrake on. In this photo you can see how water has got around the sunroof ceiling and completely rotted away most of it. So the sunroof has been broken, but you can still see some of the winding controls. You can clearly see in this photo the door cards have been taken, and many other things such as the interior door handles and the window controls. To conclude with, I thought I'd show a side-by-side comparison of how this car has deteriorated in a 6-year span. As always, thank you for watching this video. Be tuned for the next video. Thanks.